So we've done the block out, we've got our character made, so we need to take it to the next level and we need to sculpt all of the details like the face, the mouth, the eyes, the fingers, the feet, and then we'll do a very quick paint job to make him look like this. So let's dive right in. Before we dive into the second of these little Nomad Sculpt character videos, I'd like to just ask you a question. Could you put in the comments for me the top 3 things that you'd like to see us do? Not just about Nomad, not just about iPad sculpting, but what sort of things do you think that we should be doing on the channel to help you be more creative in new and innovative ways, which is our tagline, but it isn't just a slogan for me. I've been doing this for a long time, many years, and my passion is to train people, develop people and mentor people to come into the industry. And I've got lots of examples of where people have gone on from very simple beginnings to now being very high in their careers, doing amazing things on movies and TV shows and in-game. And I want to help you do that. So write down the 3 things that you think I could help you with that's to do with creative tools and skills. So it could be, for example, more iPad sculpting because that's so popular at the moment. It could be, do you want me to start my ZBrush courses here on YouTube, which I have live courses that we've been doing for many years, been training it for 20 years. So I'd like to know whether that's the kind of thing that you need to see more of. Or do you want me to do more VR creation and sculpting in programs that are a little bit way out there that might inspire you to try something new? So, as I say, give me 3 things that you think you'd like to see us doing on this channel. If you do like what we're doing, give it a thumbs up. It does help us get it in front of other artists and newer artists. Obviously, subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And everybody does forget to do that, and then they don't get notified. And we're still uploading, and we have been uploading all summer on a Wednesday and a Friday. So here's part 2 of the Nomad Character Sculpt, and you're going to see a lot of this guy. He's going to be used in a lot of the festivals I'm doing and also in a lot of the training I'm doing over the next few months. So keep your eye on this little guy. Our last video with a fully blocked out head and a blocked out body. So what we're going to do in this video is we're now going to do all the sculpting work. So we're going to start with the head, and we're going to use basic tools like, for example, the clay. And oops, we're on the wrong color there, so let's just get the color right for a start. So we'll go over here. We can just color pick and make sure we're not adding any color that's wrong. So we're going to start by sculpting with clay, and we're going to replicate our model here on the right. Don't forget, you can get the image here if you want to join along and do it the same, do it exactly the same as I'm doing it. And you can get that down below in the comments. So I'm just going to turn off the gizmo and the plane, and now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally sculpt up things like the eyelid. Now we're going to show you a very important part of the process now, and this is one of the big things that you must learn quite quickly. So to do it and to show you, I'm going to turn on up here in the settings, I'm going to just quickly turn on wireframe, and you can see now that we've still got all of the wireframe from the primitives in video 1. But what we want to do is we want to start using something called Voxel Remesh, which is in here under topology, and we've got resolution here. So when we now change or remesh the model, it will merge these models together. So even though we've got our ear and our head together, they're not actually joined. So I'll just show you very quickly. And to do it a quicker way, we can go up here and do it, but on the bottom of the menu here, we've got this little grid, and that does it. So let's see what happens. You can see there, it meshed together our ear and our head. And the resolution of the polygons is defined by this slider here. So the higher the slider and the remesh, the more polygons you get. So while we're doing the initial phase like we're doing now, just keep it quite low. And I won't say that again. I won't go up to this menu again. What I'll do is just hit this button here at the bottom. But it's crucial to understand that that's what I'm doing when I say I'm remeshing. So I'm going to turn the wireframe off. The wireframe can be amended here on the bottom with the little geometric shape. And now I'm just going to sculpt away on that. It's slightly rough, as I said. It's you know, we're not at anywhere near the final resolution yet. But let's sculpt the mouth. So we want to keep it smooth. If you look at the reference now, we can look at the 3D reference now, or the perspective reference. You want to start thinking about where those shapes are. So we work a bit like that, and then smooth it back. And keep looking from all different angles, because now what we're going to be aiming for is how cute the character is. So, you know, we don't want to make any mistakes and make him look like anything horrible that's just not going to be appealing to us as the character. So eyelids will keep building up, as I said. So build them up, smooth them, remesh. Excuse me. Now we can use the move tool, and we can, instead of just doing what I did, we can actually just pull those polygons down. So rather than just keep fighting it and keep adding and adding, we can just, you know, move them around like so. Anything that you do wrong, just 2 fingers on the screen will undo. There you go, he's getting character already. Maybe that eye should be mirrored now, because then we can see. So world center, X, mirror. Yes, and there's your eye centered exactly. Let's go back to the, we can use, there's all sorts of ways to score into the surface, but the one that in the early stages I just use crease a lot, and that just gives us an idea of where this eye lid is going to sit. Keep it smooth. So I'm smoothing it back down. I've worked it up and then smoothed it down. We want that ear to be, I'm going to use the sub, remember, so I'm going to score in with that. Crease gives you that scoring anyway, so that could be, you know, that could be quite a useful one. I'm going to remesh. That looks fine. Let's get that mouth looking good with the crease tool, and then we'll use the remesh. You can do this as much as you want at this stage. Let's move tool around to make sure the character's still looking cute. Pull him back here. The lips aren't right, are they now? Because we've basically come away from the teeth a little bit. So we will actually just move those teeth a little bit, because they should be up and wide in the head like this. And if I remember on the reference, we had a nice cute little wedge out of the front of it, so we'll do that now with the crease tool. We'll actually remesh the teeth quite high, and there you go, that's remeshed high now. And then go back to that crease tool, small brush, and just put a little wedge into it like that, and then move tool, just bring them together. That's fine. And now with the head, let's remesh it a little bit higher as well, because we've got a bit more detail in it now. You can see now as I smooth, it gets a lot better. So we've got character already. I like how quickly this comes together. But now I'm going to do this, which is change the field of view a little bit. So it just means it looks like less perspective. You don't have to do that. It would help me see it a bit better. And then just make sure that head looks good from all angles. So a little bit of move tool goes a long way. Make sure you don't leave a bump in the middle like that. It'll end up looking like a little tiny butt from the back. So you don't want that. You want the head to be smooth. So keep smoothing it down and bring those ears in and out. So we want little goat ears. So here's a little nomadic alien, but these ears are quite common in any kind of things like goats and camels. You'll see ears like this, and then that cheek is quite nice. Bring his mouth back and up. Good thing about the move tool is it tightens things down for you, so you can see as I move it back, it gives that mouth crease quite nicely. And then smooth it down again, and then we're almost done for this section on the head, and we'll move on to the rest of the body then. So a little bit more of a crease in there. Move tool again, smooth it down again, and we'll call the head done for that stage. Okay, just tighten the ears a bit. I'm looking at the reference, don't forget. Now, there is a wedge out of the ear, but I'm going to do that last. I'm going to use another tool for that. So we're going to use the trim brush towards the end of the process for that. So I'm going to do something now. Because the head's quite close, I'm actually going to increase the polygon count. But instead of voxel remeshing, because I'm happy with where it is, I'm going to do this, which is subdivide. And that will times every polygon by 4. So it just gives me a much tighter mesh. It gives me 4 times the amount of polygons for the bit that I'm doing now, which is I'm just laying down some nice tight lines to where the eyelids are going to go. And then smooth that back a bit. And you can see there it just gives us a little bit more of a cleaner line there. And we'll put a couple of little feature lines in. And bring that all the way around there. And one in the ear as well. Very cartoony ear, that. There you go. So we've got the heads pretty much done now. So let's move on to the body. So with the body, we're going to do the remesh again. But remember, we went high. So let's go low with the remesh. And then just show you what happens. Now that's too low, isn't it? So it's gone too blocky. So we undo that. We'll go a little bit higher. And again, a little bit too low. So we'll get there in a moment. So let's try about there. Yeah, that'll do. And now we're going to, because it's a lower res, we're going to be able to smooth it, and you'll see that it fixes a lot of those issues straight away. So we're going to use the clay brush, and we're going to work our way around. So we'll smooth that joint on the elbow. We're going to put an actual elbow there. I'm going to smooth down here. I used the brush a little bit by mistake then, but it was not a mistake as in it was wrong. It's just what I didn't mean to. Build up the muscles there a little bit around his shoulders. Give us an elbow. Keep smoothing down. Looking here really just at the silhouette. So is the model, if we were to make this completely black, would we be able to see what we're doing? So I'm literally only using the smooth and the clay at the moment, so it's not a complex thing to do. I'm just tightening down everything that we've done and adding a little bit if I feel we need to. So fingers, we know we're going to want some volume on them, so I'm just going to add a little bit. See there, the hands I know I'll need a little bit. And then smooth. I'm just going to save the model because I haven't saved it for some time. Go plus, and I'm going to call it the Nomad 00. Didn't do it then. 001. And that means I've got it saved as an iteration. Carry on. See how the wrist goes in there? So I'm going to switch to the move tool. I'm going to fix that there. That's where I would call it loss of volume. Just, you see in this corner here, it just didn't look like a wrist. Now I know we've got quite fat wrists on this character, but that bit of volume missing was enough to make me think, oh, that's not working. So there you go. That fixes that little bit there. So again, I'm just using a couple of tools. I'm just using the clay. So I'm building it up with the clay and then smoothing it down. So this is a thumb, so we know there's always a pad here. So that's enough on the arm. So straight away, that's almost there really. We're not going to need a lot more on the hand. Use reference if you need to. If this isn't something you're doing a lot and you want to, obviously you can copy what I'm doing, which would be the ideal thing. But if you're not sure, have a look at things like cartoony hands and cartoony fingers. I know we've got a reference here. As you can see, I'm using a reference over the top, but it might be that you've never done this before. And don't be disheartened if it doesn't look great in your first go, because this is not something you can learn overnight. Just take your time with it, and you'll soon pick it up with practice. Character design is, it's quite a it's a skill that needs to be practiced. So you need to be doing quite a few characters and building them over and over again to understand, you know, the anatomy. Now, some people, you might say, well, it's because it's cartoony, the anatomy doesn't matter that much, but it really, really does. It's even in these stylized, cartoony kind of builds, it will need to have some, you know, link back to the real world, some real, you know, real anatomy. I don't like how far forward his feet are. His centre of balance is off a little bit. So at some point I might want to 3D print this, so I would always make sure that he could stand up. And even if you don't, it's good practice, really. These feet aren't right at all, so we're going to fix these now. I'm only using pretty basic tools for this character design. I don't want you to get into masking or any of the more complex things. If you can nail all of this, then my other videos will probably help you, getting into the more complex things. So I'm just going to use flatten, and that'll just knock off some of these edges here. High intensity. There you go. It might be a bit too much, that. Actually, lower the intensity, lower the brush size. There you see, and just knock off some of them edges and then smooth them. So knock off some of the edges and smooth them. That's a good technique for just getting your shapes back, just by taking away those edges a little bit. And that's why it's not so much of a problem starting with cubes like they did with this feet, because with knocking off just the edges, you suddenly get back to the shape that you want. If you start with spheres, you haven't always got like a flat bottom or it's not quite the shape that you want when you start. So now let's just put in, I'm going to remesh but higher now. Remesh, there we go, and then I'm going to pull the feet apart a little bit. He's got toes, remember, that we've got to add in. Bring them down in the middle a bit. And then I'll use the crease tool. I'm waiting for a brush, or hopefully in one of the next releases we'll have a brush that's equivalent to what we call Damn Standard in ZBrush, which is a very good tool for scoring. Now you can make your own brush. You could make a little little dot alpha. I think I've done it actually in my brushes here. I think this little dot, where did I just see it? There, this little dot works. So dot on the alpha, use the clay, and sub it, and you'll get the effect of a Damn Standard, but it's not as good. It's only it's a temporary fix while we're waiting for that. So I'm using crease for now with remesh. Now we're going to inflate a little bit. It's another brush that's quite useful for this sort of stuff. That just blows it up for us, and that's pretty much there with the feet. We're almost onto the final pass now. There we go. Now let's just have a look at the silhouette again. So move tool. It's got quite a cute little body there for, it's gonna be able to animate, so I want to make sure he's got a really flat set of feet. So how will we do that? We'll go orthographic stat. Let's have a look at his feet. Still not flat, are they? So how do we solve that? Well, I said I was going to come to this part. So let's just make sure he's got knees. So to do that, we go trim brush, trim rectangle, chip them off like that. That gives us a completely flat foot, as you'll see now. And then once you've got that flat foot, just smooth it down. I'm going to do what I did with the head. And I'm going to add one subdivision level. That makes it a lot nicer. And I'm going to go back to flatten and just clean around the edges of those feet there, because I don't want it just to be like a flat plate. There we go. Okay, so we're almost there. I'm going to do some score lines on the hands. So again, I'll use the crease tool, put some score lines in the wrist. I've got the alpha on there, so we'll turn that off. smaller brush, crease there, and the fingers 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the fingers now look like fingers. All I'm doing there is just putting in score lines where I know the joints of the fingers are, so you can just emulate what I do there for now. On a real figure, on a human, with real anatomy, you'd have this joint here. The first joint would be whatever length it is. The next joint is half of that, and this final joint is half of that. So there's some good landmarks there that you can work with, and we'll cover that in another video. And it's actually on one of my doing the hand is actually on one of my Nomad videos, my Forger videos. So we should be able to link that up here now, and you'll be able to see how to make a hand. It's exactly the same in Forger or in Nomad, so it's the same process really. And just having some details at the back of the hand. Just changing my brush a little bit there. That's the back of the hand done. I'm not even going to have nails on this character. I quite like having no nails on him. Okay, there you go. That's the core of the character done. So we'll move on now. We'll save him again. Save as. And we'll just add an iteration of 02. And then I'll quickly do some paint on him. So to paint, I won't do a full job, but I'll just show you how we would do it. So I'm going to use the colour that I want is, I'll pick paint first of all, and then I'll pick this like an aqua colour for his dots and other things that he's got. So his bottom of his face is this colour. So I'm literally just using straightforward paint tool and just painting on the model. If you want any texture in that, then you change it down here with your alpha brushes, but we are just after a basic colour laid down here. We'll go down onto his body, underneath his belly. Now you have to, I'm going to go a bit lighter, not that light, there we go. Excuse me. And now we have to turn symmetry off. We have to paint some of these dots that he's got on his body. Maybe it is a bit brighter. Bear in mind, some of the colour is being driven by what we call the material, or the matte cap, which is something for another video. So this is what we call Vertex Paint, and this will come out with the model if you export it and send it to other programs like ZBrush and Blender. Just need to paint, put symmetry back on and paint 2 eyelids. Eyebrows, I apologise. I'm not following the reference completely now. There we go. Now for the eyes, I just want a basic colour. I think his eyes were red. So we'll take a basic red. I'll just do one and we will mirror it over again. So the higher the resolution, the better your painting's going to be. So on here, we'll just add a couple of levels of subdivision for the moment. That will do it. And then paint a nice clean red. Actually, yeah, we can do it symmetrically rather than mirroring it back over. Go back to black. And we aren't going to bother changing the material in this video, but we'll just put the white in to give us a specular highlight. and make sure those teeth are painted white like that. Just move those teeth out a little bit. They didn't look particularly good then. So we'll move the mouth back. There we go. Just giving some final tweaks. And there you go, that's enough for now. That gives us all of the character made. There will be some cleaning up to do on it, and I'll use this character quite a bit in future videos. But that gives you all of the full character built. We did it over 3 videos, which is quite nice, so it didn't take too long. Let's look at him in perspective, and let's turn off our reference. There we go, and actually turn the grid off as well. And there you go. And we'll even turn off the little green line as well. There we go. So there's our character. And we can use this character for so many things. It's, you know, it doesn't have good geometry yet, so it would need to be retopologized, which I would do in ZBrush probably. But that's again a whole nother set of videos and workflows. But this is called the Nomad, and it's a little alien that's obviously on a little nomadic journey. So I hope you've enjoyed it. There are things that I would improve, so I'll probably clean it up a little bit more, and then we'll when it's all done and dusted, we'll share the model. If you're enjoying this content, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if you could hit that notification bell, we'll let you know when we upload videos, which is on a Wednesday and a Friday. I hope you're enjoying using Nomad, and please take a look at my other videos on the channel. Thanks for joining us.